clone. His DNA is a how-to manual for any cloning lab in the world. With Mr. 47.
After I played and replayed one of my all-time favorites, Hitman Blood Money. Although much more old than Hitman 3, having a native version of any game is always preferable to me. Despite its age, this game still has a certain charm, making it well worth playing today. But is Hitman Blood Money worth revisiting? Find out what next. If you're unfamiliar with Agent 47, he's a clone assassin who travels the globe to fulfill various contracts, and Blood Money gives a bit more depth to his motivations. There's a rival agency worried about his abilities falling into the wrong hands, which adds a nice layer of tension to the story. The core gameplay hasn't changed much over the years. Since the very first game, where you dragged a poor fellow into a gutter and watched the ragdoll physics in action, Blood Money stuck with that formula, and it's still pretty fun. On the Switch, though, it does look a bit dated, particularly in the animations, but they've added some much-needed quality-of-life improvements. One such addition is gyroscopic controls. Whether you're lining up a headshot or just scoping out the environment, gyro controls make things easier and more immersive. If you're not a fan of gyro, you can always enable assisted aiming to make your shots land more easily. The minimap also received an upgrade improving situational awareness, which helps when you're trespassing or gauging suspicion levels. Another addition is Instinct Mode, borrowed from the more recent Hitman games, which allows you to highlight enemies, points of interest, and items with the press of a button. It's useful when you need to, spot your next move in a pinch. Each level in Hitman Blood Money plays out like a sandbox with specific targets and various ways to approach your mission. Before missions, you can buy intel using in-game currency earned from previous contracts. Intel gives you clues about environmental hazards or accidental kills. For example, you might learn that the agents have a deadly affection for donuts. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out how to use that information to your advantage. But while these clues offer vital information, the beauty of Hitman has always been about experimentation. I love going into a level blind, spending the first hour exploring every possibility and figuring things out for myself. Every NPC has a hierarchy of authority. If you're wearing the right outfit, you can move around more freely, but wearing the wrong one will get you noticed quickly. The AI in Hitman Blood Money can feel a bit dated. For instance, you could push someone into a pool while their bodyguard briefly looks away and they wouldn't have a clue who did it. Compared to newer Hitman games, where suspicion is more enhanced, it feels unrealistic, but it still works for what it is. The variety of stages is what I always loved about this game. Some missions, like the Opera House, are iconic, and depending on the difficulty level, you'll either breeze through them or face a real challenge. Harder difficulties mean smarter AI and fewer save points, so the choice is yours. Let's talk performance on the Switch. The game generally runs at a stable 30 frames per second, although I noticed some stuttering in a few areas. The bigger issue, however, is stability. I experienced crashes on the third stage and in the asylum, and there were visual bugs like objective notifications repeating over and over. It's disappointing because the 360 version didn't have these issues. Still, playing it in handheld mode is a real treat, and it feels like a nostalgic dream come true. If you're playing Hitman Blood Money on PC, though, I'd recommend a system running Windows 10 or 11 64-bit with an Intel Core i5-6660K or AMD Ryzen 5 1600 processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and a graphics card equivalent to a GTX 1060 or RX 580 to ensure smooth gameplay. These specs will let you enjoy the game at 1080p with a consistent 60 FPS, ensuring a much smoother experience compared to the Switch version. Interestingly, Hitman Blood Money has also found new life through the speedrunning community. The game's open-ended mission design and multiple paths for completing objectives make it ideal for speedrunners who enjoy experimenting with ways to shave seconds off their times. In recent years, These speedruns have contributed to the game's resurgence, showing just how intricate and well designed these missions really are. It's fascinating to watch how players have turned Blood Money into a high-stakes race, figuring out new strategies to complete missions faster and more efficiently. This revival by speedrunners has kept the game relevant and added a whole new layer of excitement to a title that was already iconic. Now, what makes Hitman Blood Money so appealing today is not just nostalgia, but also its affordability. It's become much cheaper over the years. And for the price, you're getting a fantastic game that offers hours of strategic fun. Whether you're a longtime fan or someone new to the series, this game is a great purchase. It might not have the polish of modern titles, but it holds up surprisingly well. The satisfaction of planning out an assassination, finding all the little secrets, and watching your mission unfold is still just as thrilling as ever. If you've been waiting to dive into Hitman or just want to revisit a classic, there's no better time. In conclusion, Hitman Blood Money remains a timeless classic. A big shout out to all of you for watching. Whether you're reliving old memories or diving in for the first time, this game is definitely worth picking up. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more awesome content. Keep it switch up, and I'll see you in the next one.